So, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Political No Brainer, the podcast where we move past winner takes all politics and into real conversation. I was just chatting with my revered and honorable guest, Jonathan Lapidow, who is a lieutenant colonel retired 30 years on the day. You retired 30 years from the Army on the day, right? 30 years, right on the day.
Yes,
So,
sir.
and
September 30th, 19.
September 30th, 29. So, you've been retired for 7 years already almost? Wow, you're
Almost,
young.
yeah.
I wish I would
September
have
will be
went that
7.
route.
This is one that you could actually quantify once you get in. Once I got on active duty, I just did the math. I said, oh, what do I need for 20 right there? Uh, Other variables in life, hey, I'm having kids, this and that, but you generally know when you're going to retire. The key is if you need a second job to still live comfortably. That's the key when you get out of the military. And then there's a ton of variables connected to that. You have
But
kids,
still,
you
you
know,
always have that freedom of that retirement. Yeah, you may need a second job, but if that second job becomes a real thorn, you can always say, you know what, I'll be fine for 6 months. See ya. I mean, that's a nice position to be in, you know.
yeah, if you collect your retirement, a lot of guys have VA benefits. But if you've got any kids and you don't have any special investments and you're not maybe general and up. Not many people could live on their retirement alone unless they have a VA benefit also, and maybe no kids. But and depending on what their wife does, what their husband slash wife do also.
Right,
But
right. But in the military, is there this is really a question I've never really thought of until now. Is there any sort of courses you could take on investing, some of what you have while you're working, some of what you're working for?
I'll tell you what, the military has endless programs in it. They're real good with that, especially when you get near retirement on how not to be stupid with the money you made while you're there. When you become an officer, they brief you up on, now you're making more money. Let's not go out and spend it all. We have a joke officer basic course where we all become brand new lieutenants and we go to our first uh, class, whether it be infantry, signal, ordnance, whatever your specialty may be. We have a joke with as soon as we get there, it's those the 3 Series Beamers. Everybody gets their first check as an officer, and you see everybody there with their 3 Series Beamers bopping around, blowing their whole lieutenant day on that cool car, especially the single guys, because a lot of them aren't married yet. A lot of the married couples, they're a little more tight.
Yeah, they know that they could have kids any day or any 9 months from any
Yeah,
day, and then you do have to watch your money. But I just think that's great to know because I'm always on this sense of mission that we need to get the word out to everyone that the best way to succeed in life is to have a plan. You don't plan to fail, you fail to plan. And if that's a course that's
absolutely.
available, then I would like to see that course available even outside the military on video and for people just heading into school at a certain level where maybe it's not a part of their K through 12 curriculum, it's they're on their own time, but let them have the option of seeing that course, being a part of those courses.
I mean, you could take that to the macro level. Military always seems to seize on the good stuff and the good training before the civilian world gets it. You could take that at any level. You could take it financial planning. You could take it on planning for any problem or any mission, time considerations, work ethic. You see Jocko Willink and the guys running stuff for companies, for Fortune 500 companies, on how to make decisions, how to take ownership, how to do things at the high level planning, and not just, hey, let's do this, but not worry about the ripple effect or that's all that kind of training. The military always seems to have the finger on the pulse first, and then retired guys like me come out, run our company. This is a good segue to Fort Lap, and then we train civilians how to have that same kind of mindset, have the same kind of thinking.
So
Not denigrated civilians. It's just a lot of they've never been pushed on decision making the way that the military training plan has. And I think every decision you make in life, whether it's crossing the street, investing your money, planning to take a trip with your wife just across town, every bit of that comes into a problem statement and doing a quick mission planning to do it, right? If I'm planning to go to with my wife during the season to buy a pumpkin during Halloween, I come up with quick facts and assumptions. Oh, is all the roads open? Traffic? What's the weather? What kind of stuff are we going to have to wear? Are we going to have to get there? What time are we going to have to get back? Those are all things that just immediately run through a military person's mind, especially a leader's mind, on any sort of thing, whether it's a life and death mission or, hey, how do we get somewhere? I'm going to do it the most optimal way possible, by effectively utilizing resources, effectively utilizing talent, and effectively, keeping it, number one, safe, because obviously lack of safety could kill any mission, right? It's a combat
yeah, of course.
multiplier.
You crash your car, of course. And like you said,
100%.
which we're going to get right into Fort Lapidow in a minute, but I'm going to build on that for what you just said for a minute. People are full of information. There's all sorts of information, but when you take it from a military standpoint, you're also getting wisdom along with the information. And that's what people are not full of. They know how to check a weather report, but just like you said, when we drove to North Carolina, my wife and I are pretty smart. We checked the weather report. We did certain things. We got this amazing Airbnb, and we knew the area was in Maggie Valley. We wanted to be in the mountains, but not everybody does that. People arrive at vacation destinations and wonder what the hell they're even doing there when they get there. They just heard it's pretty cool. And then, but that infinite wisdom of everything you just said, I just wish we could get that point across that the military has so much to offer, even if you don't join the military. If the military was willing to offer it, even if you didn't join the military, if they were willing to put those life lessons out there on the internet and let people learn from them and build on them.
Yeah, there is. You get a lot of that stuff when you join, getting in, and there's a lot of fringe benefits, to when you're in the military, where you have U.S. Army knowledge online. There's websites that you could only get if you're in the military, because you have something called the access card. And then, you could disguise the limit depending on talent. And then there's, voluntold training that voluntold, but you're not even voluntold. I'm sorry. Required trainings for commensurate to your rank. In order to make sergeant, I have to make this military training. In order to make that as an officer, I also have to have civilian equivalent, a college degree, that kind of thing. So you have your required stuff, but then there's, of course, you have your so much free access to planning stuff and options online, briefings. So when you get out and then you go on the civilian world and you tell your boss, hey, I got a quick decision for you to make. And you give them 3 courses of action. You give them some options. You say, hey, listen, I tested a couple of these options. This would be your most optimal, but tell me what any more intent you have. And then you present it as a PowerPoint slide. That's a 101 for a normal military person. But if you did that at a company, they'd be like, oh my gosh, this guy's all squared away. So that's, people take advantage of that stuff. So you get out of military with all that torture of being in, but you come out with stuff that civilians they don't have those tools per se in the toolbox. So I'd like to get everybody thinking the most effective way possible. And the only way I know is the military way. My wife, I get her on that a lot. And then she brings it to when she does her briefings with her people at her company. How do you brief a boss the stuff? There's a million things going on. You got to come up with his best course of action so he could come up, based on his intent. You can't just say, hey, how do you do this? You got to come up with a systematic approach that you analyze and using criteria. Is safety the best consideration? Well, most places it is, right? Unless you're in a life or death situation. But, there's certain criteria. Do we want to do it fast? Do we want to do it least expensive? Do we want to do it the top? Do we want to have a better quality product than another expensive one? Then you weigh those criteria. There's so many things that makes people come up with the best possible decisions. Hasty decisions are just that, hasty.
Right. And you had a great run in the military, right? Like, you were always laser focused. I mean, you didn't get to lieutenant colonel you're fairly young. I mean, you literally retired 7 years ago as a lieutenant colonel. You were a lieutenant colonel for
Yeah, I was a lieutenant colonel for well, I retired as a lieutenant colonel, so I didn't even get looked at for full burn. I got out earlier than I had to because I had all my time. I did the math. I said, Lieutenant Colonel, cool. I said, it's about time, the time and the place in the Army. I'm seeing the timing where I want to leave New Jersey. I already had over 20 something. I had 30 total, 22, over 22 and a half active. So I had plenty of time. I did the math on, future money investments. Of course, I had investments going. My wife had a good job that she was able to transfer to North Carolina. So the cost benefit analysis, due to my military training, and said, I'm going to get out now. So yes, I got out at 19 with 3 years as a lieutenant colonel. I joined as an enlisted guy before I even got into college. 1989, I was a brand new E1, as low could go, starting from the bottom. Yeah.
That's great. And then now you got Fort Lapidow, was that always the intent to create what you created there? That's your home. Fort Lapidow is your home, right? But it's also, or is it not?
I guess I could say that it would be an ideal environment if I think back as a kid and say, and if I told myself as a younger, as now, hey, you're going to have this, I'd be like, wow, that's cool. But did I plan exactly this and it become this? No. It evolved on, the usual process of, wait a minute, I'll start training down in the Raleigh area. People start like my gun training. They know me a little. I moved up to a different area in Raleigh. I got decent at training just through, training myself, getting good courses, learning from others. And people started wanting to come train when I trained them at the range and this and that. And I said, you know what? Let's evolve this a little more. My wife, really, she gets credit for all the good stuff and the actual logistical stuff. Making roadway, the compound good, and access to the range. All I think of is the cool stuff. Hey, I'm going to train people to shoot guns. I'm going to build the range.
And it is cool. I watch it on Facebook all the time. I can't wait to get out there someday. It's just like you said, it's not like there's a counter at the front desk or anything. You can't just walk up and say, hey, I want to shoot. You really
yeah.
No, it's pretty exclusive. And
yeah.
And I can't wait to get out there.
Oh yeah. Again, I'll take recommendations from friends, this and that, but to come and actually train people, like I got my partner Jon, his partner company, Raleigh Gun Coach. Give him a little plug out there at Raleigh Gun Coach. He trains on Fort Lap. I get a lot of instructors in the area who are great instructors. Like I have a girl, Lisa, coming tomorrow. She's got a huge female group of following people she trains in we call it the Triangle region, Raleigh, Chapel Hill, Durham. And a lot of these great instructors have great talent, but they don't train. They don't have the facilities to train people. So that's where Fort Lap comes in.
That's great. And then you also, you go out there and watch them sometimes too and take part in it too, right?
100%. I go out and actually, if it's not related to my civilian job, like if I get somebody that wants to come to Fort Lapa, I'll train them on my property. I just keep this business as separate. Capitol is there, Capitol Range, and Fort Lap's Fort Lap. So outside instructors, people that come just friends from Fort Lap, I train there, and then Capitol's open to the public. That kind of thing. So I split my time that way. Yeah, Fort Lap is more. It's not just guns. We do training for hands-on. My wife leads the ladies in workouts. She's a Zumba instructor. So really? we have a full gym upstairs with the mats, the full mats, the stretching, the bags, and anything for boxing, kickboxing, workouts for the girls.
See, I see you out there kickboxing. I see you out there.
Yep. And I'll take young men. I got a young client coming soon that I'm going to train a little bit of, boxing, kickboxing, the young guy and shooting, self-defense stuff. How do you be a man? Mentor the kid. That's nice. What we're going to do. I'm going to mentor. I made a Freudian slip. I said mental there, but we're gonna mentor our kids. The kids that come in here to be, especially boys. I train the boys to get their guns, know how to fight a little bit. be a man, know what the Constitution is, that kind of stuff.
That's great. What would you say? What's a good age? You pretty much would say teaching kids to shoot at what age? Starting right at 8,
You
6?
could, you could start at 8. Actually, at 6, I would be out with my dad with a little 22 rifle, that single shot where it's like a pellet.
Yeah.
But really, for them to hold it by themselves, I could. I've had my friend Eric's son here, Riker, training here at 8 with a short little 22 AR, light as hell, feels like a toy. So as long as they know the safety, they could. An 8-year-old could do that, and they could still learn how to hold a gun, shoot it without the recoil and the big bang and everything.
And
So,
that would be, would that, okay, how would I say this? Would that ever be something that we would make more available to kids, or is that just by the parents making it available to
it's
them?
available to kids now. If you go to most states and you go to any range, like I'm sure you got a range by you.
Yeah, we got shoot
Even us
straight.
at Cap. Yeah, we got one at here, Capitol, the range I work in here in North Carolina. We'll take kids. They're going to get mad at me if I don't have the minimum age to actually shoot. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's 8 to 10. But you could train a kid young as 8 at. We'll use that as Fort Lap. Don't quote me on Capitol range, but a kid could easily handle a gun depending on his size and of course depending the gun. I would have a short little AR that's, like I said, it's as light as a toy and it shoots 22 rounds. So as long as they're safe, you could probably even fool a kid and tell them it's a pellet gun.
Yeah.
But the first thing is all about safety anyway.
And that's a good start. Just like my kids are swimmers, and all we did was take them to a pool to where they could be drown proofed when they were 2, so they knew how to swim to the edge. But that's the same thing.
Yeah.
But shooting, not necessarily in everybody's mind, not even in. I know everybody thinks I'm a liberal. I'm really not that liberal, but but it's really a good thing because I always think of myself in a situation. If I'm in a situation where I have nothing to protect myself with, I'm going to really be pissed at myself. So, um, and so I just think we should do more again when we start thinking about everything sort of changing in a rapid way these last year, in a sort of, as much as some of us really don't like the rapid change, and some of us don't like the change, we are opening people's minds to saying the status quo isn't working. And we are swinging the bat really hard, harder than ever before. So this is something, again, where if we're going to talk about life lessons, if we're going to talk about making kids men, when we make them responsible, show them how to use a gun. When we make them responsible, show them how to self-defend themselves. We can also make them realize that it's an incredibly important and big responsibility to become a parent, to have a child. We could change a lot of outcomes and a lot of concerns. When we think of abortion, maybe young people wouldn't get pregnant at such a large rate as they are today if we opened our minds to education, to a more open education system. So it's always on my radar. How can we do that? And I really think guns is a significant part of that. I trained with guns as a Boy Scout. I was young. I don't think I was 8. By that point, I was already 13.
Mm-hmm.
But it was wide open. We had ranges in every Boy Scout camp. It was fun. And I see you guys out there, and it looks fun out there.
And that's the key. I mean, I always say, whatever, me, I always got to I always put on my instructor hat on when I talk to people. They say, wow, this is fun. And I say, yes, it's fun, which is, that just adds gravy. Really, we want to make it to where it's effective and you can utilize it in your daily life also. I mean, again, I don't want to say don't come to Fort Lap to have fun, but it's always a teaching moment. It's always, gun safety. Why are you using a gun? And let's unpack what you were saying before. It comes down to if you take the politics out of guns and you just, like the old days, you were saying they did it, the Boy Scouts, they did it because there was no politics in guns. Forget the second. Nobody would ever hear me say that in real life. If you cut that in and you just framed it, me say, forget the Second Amendment, everybody'd laugh, right? But Second Amendment aside, being able to defend your life at the highest level legal by law that's a no-brainer regardless of the Bill of Rights, isn't it?
Right.
I,
Yeah.
yeah, Coach Trippy is going to send his daughter out into society. She's going to go walk and go to college. She's going to go. I've got my niece Bailey tattooed right on my arm right here. 22 years old, right? About to be 22. Just graduated college. She might have an intern in the city. So forget the politics, like the Bill of Rights is the Second Amendment. We get in those fights. This is just about the God's uh, law that you have the God's the ability under God's law or your self law, whatever you believe in, to defend your life. And we happen to have a Second Amendment in the U.S. that allows, and yet that's really shouldn't be the same sentence. Amendment allows, right? Because you don't get allowed. That's your right. So it's
That's
the
right.
government not allowed to tell you. But yeah. So, but in any event, it comes down to then what you just said. We learned it in Boy Scouts. We learned it in this. I just had that 21-year-old girl you just saw on my Fort Lap website that just came, and I took her from just touching a gun. She had a 101, so she knew how to hold a gun, to now utilizing it in society, having safety in mind, but also evidence-based, reality-based reaction stuff. Bad guy comes from this way. You're eating. You're out paying for something. God forbid, getting coffee. Somebody's in there. You're in Walmart. So these are things separate from politics. These are things that I want my mother and my wife, who she's trained to go out, and now it raises their survivability quotient. My quote, I like to use that one. When you leave your front door, you want to raise your survivability quotient to the highest level you can, allowed by law, right? And the other factor, allowed by your own ability. So I don't want to roll out with a M240 Bravo saw machine gun. I mean, I have the ability to use it, but I don't necessarily need that to defend myself, but I do against the government, right? So it's two different things that we're talking about here.
Right.
Second Amendment's one, and your God-given right to defend your life. And the tool that happens to be the most optimal for a citizen is what? A handgun that fits your comfort, right? Whether you're big guy, little guy. That at the lowest level is probably the most optimal object or tool that would keep Coach Trippy out of trouble if, say, a 300-pound guy came up to you with his friend and said, "We're about to beat you up for your money," or a guy comes with a knife in a road rage. The best possible tool you could have is that gun. So if you go into it with the mindset, I'm going to come to Fort Lap or come to Capitol and train with Jon on using that gun in real life and to make decisions, but being safe with it, that brings you out to where now you've eliminated the only worry you have now. And that's, maybe I don't have the ability to take that out in public. But once you have that, now you have now raised your survivability quotient to the highest level of leaving your house without risking society now, because I know safety. I know how to I train my clients that even when they, God forbid, the day they have to take a shot and we're practicing, they never want to get the old lady in the frozen food section, right? Clear your target behind and around it. So practical use of that firearm. Using that tool in and of itself becomes simple when there's no stressors. We get him on the gun. Same way the first day Trippy went and got his driver's license at 16. You're like, man, this is tough. Now you're driving around, talking to the wife on the phone, looking around. It's the same thing with your tool.
Yep.
Then it's about decision-making, safety, and how do I use it in a public environment.
And when you talk about increasing your survivability ratio, you're also increasing other people's survivability ratio when you're doing that
Great
responsibly.
point.
Because
Great point.
literally, okay, these 200-300-pound thugs come up to me, they're gonna beat me up, they're gonna take my money. If I pop them, they're gonna think twice about ever doing that again to anybody else. The other scenario is that if you're in a movie theater, and we've seen these incidents, or in Florida, we sort of have the Guardian program where some teachers, some administrators are allowed to carry weapons, but they've put so many stipulations and so much training. I happen to know Daryl Blackall's went through all the training. It's extensive, and I personally think it's a little too extensive, and it prevents really good candidates from finalizing the training.
That's a
But
great point you made there. Yep.
yep, and so you know the old saying, when seconds count, the police are minutes away. When seconds count is, and it could be for someone else. And when you talk
Yep.
about when you say put the politics aside, the politics is all bullshit, because politicians are carrying guns, whether they're liberal or conservative. And when
Yep.
they get to a high enough rank, we're in the House and the Senate, they've got quite a bit of security around them. We're the ones that are
They
braving
have
the
to.
elements every day in Publix, not knowing what's next. They're not. And and that's the whole point we need to get across is, yes, guns make sense. As much as I am quoted to be a liberal, it's not about guns as my one offer. I'm really not at all on the side of what John Ossoff said. Yeah, John Ossoff said, yeah, we're going to take away your AR-15s, and they said he's going to flip Texas. I said, you're an idiot. He's not going to flip Texas. You're not going to take, first of all, you're not going to go knocking on doors and picking up people's automatic weapons. Second of all, it's just he's got weapons like that protecting him. He's a senator. Yeah, it's easy. He's got weapons like that protecting his wife and kids too. So stop the bullshit and all the. But it just goes on and on. It's always circular in America, which is great. That's what America
Mm.
is. It's about that whole discussion, and it's free to have that discussion. You're free to have that discussion. But
Yep.
when I think of the hypocrisies that go along with, but there's lots of hypocrisies. But I love I see what you do at Fort Lap. I have never seen the Capitol gun place you work out on over there, but that's probably just as intense too. We have one here. It's called Shoot Street. They're the big guys, and they own all the big gun shows and stuff, and it's fun to go out there too. But I would love to be out in the outdoors, doing it out there
Oh
with.
yeah. You're always invited, Coach. Come on out.
I'm gonna bring the kids and the wife. They're gonna love it because we were
Oh yeah.
shooting in North Carolina the last time we were there. Um,
Nice.
so let's jump into the next topic. I know it's is there is there what do we have to gain by doing what we're doing in Iran? That's my biggest question. What do we have to gain?
Now, let me preface it the way I did before. I have no, even though I'm a retired light bird, I've been retired for almost 6 years, like you pointed out before. I have no inside info from
No,
anybody. I don't
not at
even
all
have
that, but
Oh no, no. I just want to make that disclaimer if I say.
yeah.
So I'm making a lot of assumptions, or I'm surmising a lot too, like everybody else is going into this. I'm just going to add a little more of the expertise that I know about stuff, of what I think, and just knowing Trump to make my, facts and assumptions on this one. And I think there's an overarching strategic goal of doing this to Iran that has to do with the China and the Russia oil and asset, and cutting them off of the supply and world trade per se. We that kills their oil supply. They're saying by over 50%. Venezuela, next Cuba, and if you get rid of the trifecta, if you get rid of China oil, I'm sorry, not China, the Iranian oil, which almost 80% of the oil was going to those two countries. China's really in a tough spot, and so is Russia. So I think Trump's setting up a chess board per se at a world level, a global level, to where this is just one of the pieces. So I think, and again, rightly so, the news in us is treated as it's the main character, right? It's a war, or it's at least attacks going on in a Mideast country. We've seen a lot of it before. Legal-wise, he's well within the authority from previous people to do what he's doing, particularly in Iraq at the moment, because he did meet the requirements of brief Congress. He should have an end state, and if I would tell my congressman to try to get an end state out of him, but then again, do that behind closed doors, because the end state might be classified.
Of course it
right?
would be. You can't tell Iran we're going to stop bombing you in 10 days. I mean,
A hundred
obviously they'll
percent.
still sit it out for 10 days, and then they know the date,
Yep.
and then who knows what they'll unleash. But just like you said, being retired for 7 years, that was a funny thing you said. There was a thing where, so this is the pretense is that they're going to fire a nuclear missile on somebody. This is why we're doing it. Now you're pointing out a whole nother narrative, which is really interesting. Colin Powell,
100%. It's
Colin
not just
Powell
that.
once said, let Iran fire a missile at Israel. They'll fire 200 back. And everybody's like, they have 200 missiles? And he's like, I've been
Yeah.
retired for 10 years. I'm just throwing a number out there. And
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
that whole news media thing. But you're saying it really doesn't have to do it because there is a logic that most world leaders will commit murder, but not suicide. If Iran were even in this
Yeah.
position they're in
100%.
now, if they
Yeah.
fire a nuclear missile, it's game over, right? And we don't really see
They
them.
don't have a nuke. They don't have a capable nuke though at this juncture.
Right.
They
They
don't.
don't.
They're not. Yeah. They don't have one. A capable nuke to make even a tactical strike at this juncture.
So
They're according to Rubio and Trump and Hegseth, they are close to their ability, and they're going to always say that. Netanyahu's been saying they've been close
for
since
20 years ago, probably.
and again they were. Remember they got set back with that bombing, the B-2 bombing. But what the administration tells the public and versus what's classified and versus this being a nested cog in a big world chess piece, which I think it really is. Because look, Cuba's going to be next, Venezuela, oil, the Monroe Doctrine, and now cutting off more oil to China and Russia. Iran, the people, most people in Iran, I know it's got 90 million people, but most people are probably, I don't think more than 50% are like running under that Muslim law. If you look back before 79, the women were running around in short dresses and partying. So they could get back to that. To grow one further, Trump, me just knowing Trump, Jon Lapidow knowing Trump, and this is my view, and Hegseth, and J.D. Vance, and Rubio, I know all them. I follow them. The average person doesn't. I know none of them would ever get bogged down in Iraq type, Afghanistan type situation again. They would zero. They have some plan, in an overall plan, to not have that happen. That's what I would almost say that with confidence.
So let's unpack what you just said, because like you said, let's just say 50%, 60%. When the Ayatollah took over, Ayatollah Khomeini, the first, he took over the country from the Shah. He encouraged the Iranian people to grow their families. Those babies are now 40, 50 years old, and they can't wait to have a normalized relationship with America.
Yeah.
They're a lot more open-minded population than we realize, because of just that human gentrification, if you will. I don't know if that's even a term, but
Absolutely.
I'm using it.
And the internet, they have plenty of internet. There are a lot of Western. They see everything.
Right.
We've
Absolutely.
got great CIA. Our CIA is telling all their people, hey, keep doing this. Our CIA, our intel apparatus and the Israeli Mossad, they're keep driving these people. My dad used to do that in the military. It's called psyops. So you at the military level, you got psyops, and then CIA is all psyops, right? They're doing that to the people. So Iran is doable. I just know that Donald J. Trump's philosophy and his commander's intent, per se, commander in chief, is to not be bogged down with our troops bogged down. Maybe advisors at the most, but I can't see them bogging us down like in Iraq and Afghanistan. I could not see that.
We hope. I don't see it either. My hope is we don't even send ground forces in there, because that could be an issue there. That could be like Iraq on steroids. These guys are not going to surrender to CNN reporters. These guys are not.
If it's not, we're not going to send in conventional troops. I would. Again, this is me making a prediction. We're not going to send in conventional. I would say, like always, the U.S., you're not going to know anyway, but there's going to always be advisors and spec ops and CIA on the ground.
And when you say Iran's doable, when you come to the realization that I guess we're coming to as individuals, not as not like you said, you've been retired 7 years. I've never been in the military. The Mossad, especially, is embedded in the Iranian government and the Iranian military, embedded. And
There's
that doesn't mean
they
there's some guy with a head cover, a Jewish guy walking around Iran. They have generals informing them. There was a big, I believe there was a big sweep after the initial bombing where we took out most of their defenses. There was a big understanding in Iran that we have a significant problem here. It's still going on now. Like they said, some guy left a room and 40 generals got whacked and he was shopping for his groceries. And it's kind of
yeah,
weird how that one guy has
they
left three
know.
rooms now with attacks
They
following
know.
his exit. Um,
They
so
they're so they get into Mossad is so advanced. They do things that beyond that we can't even comprehend. They get into, hey, which general needs money, which general's having problems with his wife, who can we, or we're going to send a guy in young. He's going to come right through natural ranks, or we're going to send a dentist in to put fillings in their teeth that are GPS.
that's
I mean, they're
happening, right?
beyond.
That could be happening
Yeah, they're
without.
beyond. Yeah, I mean, they're beyond. It's the kind of things that they do. Mossad, they're doing it to us. You think we're not free of Mossad effect in the United
No,
States? You kidding me?
no, they're infiltrating us too. They're infiltrating, but the U.S. is too. I mean, if everybody says, okay, so I'm going to put this out there, and you may or may not agree, but when everybody says the Israel government is more, the Israel military is more effective, or like you said, the Mossad is more effective than we are. The one thing Israel doesn't have that the U.S. does have is special interest. Israel's a small country. You can't really buy politicians there. There's really nothing to spend a lot of money on. Even Netanyahu's home was in a simple part of the city. I mean, it's not like
They
there's a
all
Beverly.
are. They all live
Right.
simply there. Yeah.
Right. So in the U.S., you've got
Yeah.
all sorts of special interests embedding themselves in politicians' pockets. It's not really
Mhm.
happening in Israel like that. So, but the fact
Yeah.
that they are a little further advanced in this is because they really are getting the best of the best without compromising something for a bribe.
Yeah. There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of reasons. It's more. They've got our intel apparatus, the technology, we give them any intel they need generally. So they have our training. When I was in the Apache course, they were there at our classes too. And then they've got up until the last 10, 15 years, they were fighting for their lives and we weren't. So they had a lot of things going on. And Israel doesn't play by the rules we do
No, right.
when
That
it
was it.
comes. Yeah.
Right.
So there's a lot of things like that. And again, the detail, the planning. I mean, you go back to the pager mission, the Dubai assassination where they got the weapons maker in the Dubai hotel. I mean, there's stuff that the U.S. just isn't going to do, or the U.S. is doing that's beyond quiet. It's just
Right.
it's all good, but there's definitely our politicians definitely are influenced a ton by APAC and Israel and all that. So we have to always beware of the motivations if they're always in conjunction with United States interests.
Absolutely. And that's one of the, it may be one of the reasons that Donald Trump is so revered in the military is because, like you said, he has loosened up the rules a lot more than when you're coming off 12 years of Obama and Biden, where you were literally, your hands were tied to the point where you're getting hurt and you're not even asking to go there. And then they're still sending you there and they're not giving you what you need to work with or the rules to engage with. And I think
100%.
Trump has definitely said we're not going to abide by those old rules anymore.
Well, when you know that you have backing at every level, the military, even ICE out there in the street now, and anybody that if you know you have backing from your bosses unlike the Biden administration, remember those guys? They said they were beating the people with the horse bridles. And all. If, I mean, but if you know that you have backing, the Hegseth and all those guys to really do your job, you're going to be able to really do your job.
So you're still a fan? Are you still a fan of Hegseth?
Oh, absolutely. I think he's awesome. I think he's one of the best sect deaths we've had.
Would you say Robert Gates was a top-notch sec def or no?
I think he was good, but the Hegseth changed the mold. What I've said it, and it actually stemmed from the way we used to joke around in the military. You get a bunch of colonels, mid-level, light colonels and majors hanging out with high-level NCOs like E7s, E8s, and they're joking around. We got that sec def that just worked for Raytheon, or the sec def that just worked for Boeing, right? Or a guy that runs a big corporation. And then I go, we all talked about, what would make the best sec def? A dude that is mid-level rank, like an E78 or a major or a light colonel, the guys that talk to the generals and the guys that talk to the troops, the guys that have hands on both. They got the troops talking to them in their ear. They've got the higher level guys. But once you get to the level of a Gates, Austin, or any of those sec defs, their interests are in other places. And they don't have any accountability because they're already millionaires. They're already generals. This guy Hegseth still has something to prove. He's still a young guy. That's the kind of people you put in. You don't do guys fat cats for contracts, and that's what Gates and Austin and all those other idiots were. We got to get away from all that general, and that's what Hegseth even said it. We don't need hooking up people. Officers that retired with me are all working for FEMA and working for this and that, getting government jobs. It's all, they need to cut out that crap.
By law, or just stop doing it? They need to make a law that you can't go to work for these guys after the military, or like?
No, it's not even a law. I mean,
No,
in the
but would it
executive
be?
branch.
Would you think it's something that should be a law? I mean, they are able to go into the private
No,
sector.
no, I just think I don't like. Whenever you ask Jon Lapidow, should there be a law? You're going to hear me, or should the government?
No, right?
You're going to say no.
No, right.
but
that's what I was thinking.
No,
I was a little shocked with that one. But by their own integrity, they should do it.
That's the executive branch's job. So, making sure that Trump and them got in, making sure that the no fraud. I got inspector generals. I've got make sure that they're spending money correctly. Make sure that Mr. Boeing's not getting his contract, his company. He just came out of the Boeing guy's a sec def. Now he goes to give the contract to his buddy. Where it's the executive branch's job always to make sure that the Pentagon's not ripping us off, that the Department of Labor is not ripping us off. That's all over. That is all the executive branch, and then also Congress with their oversight. Their job is to make sure, and they're not doing any. They're not doing any job.
Right. So there's no.
They just drop, spend more.
That's not how we are still in the same boat that we're always in. The corruption's wide, the corruption's deep, the corruption's wildly crazy. But you really, one thing though you can say, I'm asking, not making a statement. One thing you could say for yourself is in your vision, Hegseth really fulfilled that one part of your vision, that you finally got a guy at mid-level at the Defense Department, because there's a lot of this.
I love them.
Yeah, and that's nice to hear from a 30-year retired lieutenant colonel, because there's a lot of talk that Hegseth is not the guy for the job.
Well, let me bring up another thing that really only military guys would realize, or I want to say that sounds a little condescending, but most upper level military people realize if you're a gray-haired guy, and even me, a little gray-haired colonel, general, and I'm not even near the 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, 4-star. And then you got a major that just got sec def. So a lot of that vitriol comes from, hey, man, I'm not taking it. It's just the type A personality that inherently makes those ranks, colonel it up. Have that young stud Fox News analyst, which, by the way, is a feature, not a bug also for a sec def, having microphone time and knowing the Pentagon and being a news guy. That's a feature, big time feature, and not a bug for a sec def. That was one of the greatest things too. Add that to him being a mid-level guy, knowing the troops. That combo kills any does and kills the comparison to a Gates or a Austin. These guys are company men. They got their already contracts, already old too. Let me make my family some money. It's all fat cats in the government.
Yeah.
Headsets young, full of piss and vinegar.
He is. He's cocky. He is cocky. He got
Good. The problem is now is guys that are knuckle draggers, the guys that know they're good at shit. I don't say be overconfident. I never have some sort of an ego if you reach your thing, but they're afraid to be that way because we got to be feminized. We don't want to hurt other people. No, be that way. Best of the best. If you're in that club that made it to that level, be that way. That's what brings up the esprit de corps of a spec ops unit. What makes a lot of the Green Berets proud to be Green Berets? Because women can't make it. So there's
no
a factor right there.
They can't.
No
right?
option.
No.
They can't. Well, they physically can't make it. They can't also through exclusion because they can't do 18. But they physically can anyway.
What can't they do
at
through
the number
exclusion? What was the one that excluded them?
Well, there's a lot of jobs that are excluded to women. Not as much as they're used to.
Right. There was some openings, but there's even a
they opened a lot more.
Right.
They opened a lot more. But they also brought down standards for that, and you're not going to argue that they didn't by doing it. And you'll ask guys in there. That any time that you have a guy type thing, guy ownership, whether it's a tier unit, a spec op unit, a woman makes it if they let her in. There's always going to be that. Now, a woman made your unit, brother. That's not as good. I don't care what you say. I don't care. And then you'll get some person. Wait a minute, the outlier. I know that one girl that could lift this, that could run that, and you'll get that argument, and then you'll get that argument, and it's not productive. It's not. So they're doing the right thing. They're the highest standard. Don't care if it hurts the women's feeling. Doesn't bother me one bit. We're at the point where things at the military, strategic, national security level, I don't care whose feelings get hurt, to tell you the truth, as long as it's legal.
Right. Well, and to that point, I got to ask this question because there is rumor has it, and I don't know if that boot camp has changed since you went to boot camp 30 years ago. Nowadays, it's not at all the same. Is that true too?
They always change stuff, and you're going to get every guy from every generation. You'll get a guy from me that joined the late 80s. You'll get guys that joined in the 90s, 2000s that'll be like, my boot camp was hard. Everybody after me was, they were easy. You'll get that all the time. You'll get rumors of stress cards that I don't know if those were even true or not. But it hasn't gotten easier. It's gotten a little softer maybe for the cursing and the manness and the more old school type of verbiage, I guess. But it's still challenging. Yeah, but they challenge them physically. You're not going to make it hard mentally for an entry level kid. So it's boot camp. Boot camp wasn't hard in the 60s. It was just be tough enough to get through. You weren't really taking a test to be like a neurosurgeon. And then when you get to the after boot camp, then you get to your school. I'm going to be an MI. That's where you got to start passing tests and knowing things. Okay? Again, let me get back up. Don't get me wrong. A guy that gets out of Marine boot camp, he fired his AR enough or his M4 enough to pass that test. He might have shot 100,000 rounds, but they're going to make him pass.
Either way, that's never changed. You've got to qualify. Either way.
They're going to make you. You're going to. Very few people wash out of boot camp, and it's not so much of not being able to meet standards of physical, because they'll just keep you in a fit unit until they get you in shape. It's more of at that point just a medical thing or a mental thing.
Or they drop out, or they just walk out.
Yeah, they drop. Yeah, if then, but there's not really a washout rate of any of the service corps boot camps per se. All your learning comes after that training environment. You're going to be a Navy SEAL. You better believe there's a washout rate in Navy SEAL school. You're going to go become an infantry officer, you're going to become a Green Beret. Well, then you're not even getting into the school. They're vetting you before you even get into the school of the top 20%.
Right. That's Navy school too. They pick you. You don't sign up for that, right? They
Oh,
pick you.
100%.
Yeah.
They will pick you. You'll have interest, but they're going to pick you when you get to the tier 1 and all that. They know who they want.
And then
From everything I've heard. Yeah.
Delta Force comes from SEALs, right? Like you literally.
No, Delta's the Army version of the tier 1 SEAL Team 6.
But
I guess that's the best way to
if you're in the
explain
Army,
it for layman.
you could be picked to be Delta, or you have to have some special forces experience.
No, yeah, Delta takes all its candidates from the previous Spec Ops experience. You never get to a tier 1 like a Delta or SEAL Team 6, but that their pool of people is the SEAL Team for SEAL Team 6 or Delta the Army.
Okay.
Green Berets. And then the best of them make SEAL Team 6 or Delta. Delta's really not even official. They are, but I mean
they exist. But
yeah, they exist. Yeah.
Right.
So
right.
You got that.
This has been fascinating, and I really like we're looking into Iran, like you said. If there's more to it than this, and like you said, if we're not going to get bogged down in something that's my biggest concern. If we're going to get bogged down in something for the next 5 years, that's my biggest concern. Is that but if you don't think that's going to happen, I feel good that it's not going to happen. But like we said, we don't have inside information. But
yeah, I mean, just knowing of what he runs on, no new wars. Trump, he keeps promises. I know there's an Israel influence. That's a whole another story. But I highly doubt a big boots on ground type force there that would bog us down. And nation building. There's not a chance we're doing that. We'll have others do that.
Well, Iran, but like you said, they could be their own nation builders if some of the
100%.
Right.
Yeah. Well, there's the new approach that I've also seen another pattern, which I really like from the Hegseth, from the Rubio, from the Trump administration is we were always on the thing that, hey, if we want to provide security for NATO in, say, Germany or Poland or Ukraine, we got to always just send the military there. Well, a big concept that the new administration is doing now is if there's U.S. interest in, say, in Iran, Gaza now, and places like that, when there's U.S. companies building, that's automatic security. When you're employing foreign nationals to work and build these places in Gaza and Iran, you better believe that there's not one terrorist that's going to have his ass out there, because there's going to be some heavy-handed shit. So why not kill two birds with one stone? Build, which provides inherent security. Then just send a security force there that costs the taxpayers money and doesn't build anything.
Right. And the other thing about that's a beautiful point, because but didn't we try that in Iraq of nation building, and it just didn't. There was terrorism.
Yeah, we tried the version that I didn't like in what I just previously said. We had our military in there. We tried to nation build with our military.
Right.
We didn't have anybody else. We took their military out and their government. We had to start from scratch. So there was a lot of big mistakes made.
There was huge mistakes in Iraq. I mean, basically, like you said, when we took so it was Paul Brennan, who didn't speak Arabic even, and he made decisions that no one could figure out. He dismantled the entire military, especially the brass, and then so these well-paid generals had no job, and that's how ISIS came about. Was they needed a job. And ISIS had money from stealing Turkish oil and stuff. I mean, the whole thing was a circus, which, again, I don't think we're going to make those same mistakes, whether or not it's Trump or who knows who's going to be the next president. We can't make those same mistakes again, because, like you said,
no, you're not going
to afford to make them. No. And then
I just think that from everything I've seen from this cabinet and this administration, and I can't see them. I can see them having an effective long-range plan for this. 100% can. I don't think they went into this willy-nilly. I think Iran is just a part of it, like we said previously. It's a part of the whole geopolitical takedown of our biggest adversary being China, and then Russia's not really an adversary. They're a $15 billion economy or something. They're not a big economy, China. I mean, Russia. China's, that's it.
Well, you've also got to conclude they're not an effective. Russia is not an effective military. I've made this point over and over again. Ukraine was supposed to last 90 days in even Putin's own eyes. I mean, they're at it now 4 years. I mean, they should have been able to do the job.
Well, that's because of us. If there was no United States at all, then they would have, I believe Russia would have probably done what they wanted to them. Not that they're great, I'm telling you, but they.
But that still says a lot.
It was all our intel.
Right, our intel and our weaponry, absolutely, yeah. But that still says we don't have a viable threat from them. I mean, we didn't move our whole military to Ukraine. We didn't move all our. 10% of our, if even 10% of our, I don't even think it was 3% really, but I mean, you're talking about they're bogged down for 4 years now. So you've got to realize we're in good shape.
Yeah, we're a higher level than even worrying about what you're saying, security and national security and worrying about another military. I think this is even higher at money, able to set us up to be prosperous throughout, with deals and getting back areas where we can keep an eye on China, mineral deals, oil, cutting off oil to China, the partnership between them and Iran, that's gone now. Venezuela's new female president is selling us oil instead of China. If a president only did that alone on their whole term, that's a damn good thing. We got Venezuela all coming to us, and we're refining their oil now.
Yeah.
So, but that's also with that addition comes a subtraction. Russia and China aren't getting it, and China's now not getting Iranian oil, and with this situation, so this is set up even higher than, well, obviously money is national security, but I think even higher than a military strategic perspective. We're way better than the rest of the world military. If we had to hold the whole rest of the world hostage militarily, we could. We have subs alone that never have to surface, that nobody on Earth knows where they are, ever have to, with enough that we could hold anybody on Earth hostage in 1 second. I don't think, again, I'm sounding confident, we don't worry much about anybody militarily.
Right, that was my point.
Yeah.
And best made by a lieutenant
to our country. Yeah, the way to beat our country is the way the communists and globalists are beating it right now. Electing officials in New York City, communists, taking terrorism in the country, wrecking the economy in our country with getting Omar and AOC and all them in our government. That's how you bring down the U.S. You will never bring down the U.S. into combat, ever. We could fight the whole rest of the world at once and win the war.
Well, I'm okay with the whole Hatfield and McCoy liberal conservative argument. You're going to have liberals elected from certain states, and you're going to have ultra conservatives elected from certain states. That's a big part of that's how we function. And in the end, if we just come to some compromises, is what I want to see. Finally.
Yeah, but your lefties now aren't even liberals anymore. Yes, if I'm still dealing with Bill Maher, I agree with you. If I'm dealing with Coach Trippy, I agree with you. But we're not dealing with those people anymore. I mean, you could honestly say that everybody in the Democratic Party, besides maybe a Fetterman, is anti-American at this point. Everyone. I don't know how low, but basically look at every congressman and every Democrat now, besides Fetterman, and then a Bill Maher, and then every newscaster, everything. They're all anti-American now. It's all the propaganda, the way they word things, everything's anti-American.
Well, I think we're going to get back to basics again in the next. I hope. I mean, our younger generation's really smart. Our kids are really smart. And so I.
Well, that's also what the Democrats see, and hence the reason they tried to send 25 million voters over the border, and change the census, because just what you correctly said, they don't have shit. They don't have the young people. They don't have an idea. When's the last time you heard a Democrat specifically address something? They don't even know what anything is. It's like, oh, I don't like Trump. Oh, this is mean. Feelies. They don't even add constructive effort to any real policy. It's all deception. It's all Trump sucks. It's all take away. And then how do we make up for all those lost voters and the youth you just said? Import third world shitbirds. They're the enemy at this juncture.
They're, like you said, we do need, I don't know that you said it actually. Let me say it. We do need a positive immigration policy. Baseline zero as far as benefits, but we do need.
I'll give you a real good policy. 0 people come in the country legally or illegally now. Until we get everything sorted out, get everybody deported legally and both.
Well, right, we're probably at that point right now because it's very hard to come into
Somali,
America.
all those piece of shit scumbag Somali asswipes that just ripped off our country. All those pieces of shit that Muslims that you see bombing people, half of them are American citizens. So there's no loyalty even with American citizens that are born here naturally. So that comes through a million other factors. Our education is that no loyalty, but forget legal ones because they don't have any. It's not a melting pot anymore. Legal citizens hate our country now. Look at Ilhan Omar. So get them out too. Don't allow an illegal, no legal, no illegal. Don't allow a dark one. Don't allow any third world. Go by merit. Get rid of the Hart-Celler Act. That's where I'm at. So if you're going to move left to that, I'm going to disagree with you, which a lot of people will. I won't. I don't want anything. You still get rhinos. Just be legal. Well, the legal ones are wrecking us too. They're all wrecking us.
Well, we have a lot to address when it comes to that, but there was once, the dogs are like, Dad. No, there was once a bill on the table with George Bush's the younger Bush. I forget. I think it's George W. was the younger Bush, where he said, and it was a guest worker program, and we need those workers. We need when you there's definitely problematic people in whether they're legal, illegal, whether they're American-born citizens. We need to address that. But we also need to address some sort of immigration policy that works, that gets we are going to need immigrants. We are going to need immigrant talent to keep America going. We're a small country. We're a small population.
We're not. We're 350 to 380 million people now. No, thank God we're not billion. Million people now. There's plenty of people that need work. What happens is we've got too many fake disabilities. We've got too many fake mental problems. We've got too many fake shit that makes them not go to work. So, hey, I can't get a normal person to come to work. So I need Mr. Face Tattooed straight out of jail to come work because that Mr. Healthy 32-year-old living with mom doesn't want to go to work. Get his white ass to work and get that migrant out of here. That we do need. People won't do the job. It's not that they can't do the job. They won't do the job. Get your dirty ass and do the job. Stop government payments. The less government money, the more work.
That's stopping. That's stopped.
Exactly. That forces people to go to work.
Well, that stopped a lot.
Migrants, third world. Get them all out. I want a Norman Rockwell picture in the U.S. Whatever that is, and it doesn't matter color of the people, but I still want a Norman Rockwell painting. I don't want Muslim flags running. I don't want foreign country flags flying. You know, we got to start saying F you with that. You know, we got so comfy and so nice. Oh, multicultural. F you, America. I don't mind you're a Mexican or a Jew. Cool, be proud of that. Be America first. I don't care that I'm a Russian Polak or whatever my religion is. America first. You're working because of America. You're free because of America. Then love your goddamn country. You want like your Mexican flag, whatever, go to F back. Then. Go wave that flag there. And you could still be proud of your heritage. I don't hate you because you're any other race. I just love my country, and I'm going to prioritize it over your feelings. And that's all I'm going to say about it.
No, that was good. I like it.
Yeah.
No, I like when you
that's
go off.
That's what everybody needs to be now. And if I'm proud to be if you could be proud to be black, which is cool, be proud. I'm proud to be white. How about that? Amazing, right? I am. I'm proud to be a white dude. White Europeans have a great history. They invented a lot of things, right? The computer we're on right now was invented by white Europeans. The internet, a lot of good things. Other races contributed too, but I can be proud as mine as much as anybody else can.
But do you really think there's that much? Do you really think there's that much tension in America? That
much what?
Like, is there really? When we watch the news, when we watch the TV, when we think about but most people just get along, like you just said.
I agree with you.
I don't see the problem.
We're being divided by the media. We're being divided by narratives. We're being but we have useful idiots that don't know things that believe what they say.
Right. And then we've got that the individuals aren't the problem. It's the polarization and the media that's the problem. I don't walk outside.
I mean, it's a part of it, but you got Schumer getting up there saying stuff, lies. I mean, I know that's everybody. Lies to people, telling them, actually lying about court, things that you don't want you learning. In the old days, Reagan and Tip O'Neill would try not for the youth to hear propaganda and lies. At least it would be their version of the story. Now it's just there's so many narratives and lies and power. It's going to come down to
when you think of Reagan and Tip O'Neill, wouldn't it be nice to get any one of them back, though? Wouldn't it be nice to get? I mean, honestly, Reagan.
Politicians are a product of people, vice versa, right? They're representatives, right? So with Tip O'Neill and Reagan come good Christian values. With our shit country now, Muslim this, that, multi-diversity is our strength. We don't have American. We don't have the established values anymore, the American values anymore, the thing. So that's where we're at now. Because everybody's got their own little collective group that they defend. We bomb Iran, Iranians. We go, Taiwan has a problem with China. China's going to rise up here. We've got too many people with their own interests in our country that if anything happens foreign policy-wise, they will be loyal to that country over ours. I mean, we have elected people that are more loyal to their country than ours.
You really see that big? I just don't see it being like, for the most part, we're all together on most things. I mean, even when you think of Iran, my biggest concern is our guys out there flying the planes. That's my biggest concern. Do we really belong there? It's not about. I mean, like you said, there is some sort of plan there that we don't even know, that they're not articulating. But I honestly get along with all my neighbors. I love everybody I work with, and there's a whole variety of cultural variety there. I don't see
at the local level and you have a great point there, Trippy. At the local level, we complain a lot about national things and this and that. At local level is really what you feel anyway, right? You got your neighbors, your community level stuff. You don't feel all the federal things per se in your day-to-day activities. So it's news is entertainment. But our phones and everything connects to like 5 things, right? It seems like everybody knows the narrative of the day, no matter who you talk to, because it comes across that, right?
Right.
So yes, we do. Trippy gets along with John at the local level. Hey, Sheriff. We all get along at a local level. That's the laws we feel. But we fight because dumb people sit on this for their things. And then the real issue is the politicians that have to make those idiots fantasies for real and lie to them. And that is all. That's almost. I guess there's problems on both parties, but Democrats are the biggest piece of shit I've ever seen right now.
Well, I've asked that. I actually asked that to somebody the other day. I don't know that I can say there are certain Democrats that are a big problem, but I can also say there are certain Republicans that are.
Federally, they all are. The correct statement is Democrats at the state and local level. I'm sure there's plenty of good ones.
There are. There are. Federally has gotten
at the federal level. I can't name one except Fetterman. I can't name one.
Well, and when it comes
and
to
that
even,
guy,
when it comes to even conservatives at the federal level, they've all dug their feet in really bad. They've all planted their feet in their positions, and we're getting nowhere at that. And that's going to change.
When I look at a guy like Rubio, I can't see a malicious vote in that guy's body. I can't see him wanting to do anything that's not the right thing.
Right.
And if anybody sees something different than that, they have to be hearing propaganda from somebody. That's the whole thing. If a Rubio compared to a Schumer, you're talking devil versus an angel. And I don't know how anybody could disagree with that, regardless of your party.
Well, like you said, okay, so let's take Rubio for an example. If he were to run for president, of course, the propaganda is going to come from the other candidate, whomever it is in the other party, whomever it is, right? But if you come to realize, like we do on this podcast, that he may be not always the one we agree with, but he may be the right choice, that would be something new versus the whole party.
Yeah, until the media gets on to Kamala Harris, I'm going to say Kamala Harris, the next one, right? They throw her up. Media for that gets behind her the same way they did that one. I would say another Kamala Harris, right? And then, so it doesn't matter the candidate. It could be Trump, it could be Rubio, it could be Vance, it could be it could be God. The second that other person comes up, they're going to walk on water. That means now, thank God for Elon getting X, because that changed. The left can't control the narrative anymore. They can't do the Charlottesville thing anymore. They can't do the Trump fine people hoax anymore. They can't do all that anymore and carry a narrative for years. So that's where they're frustrated now. So they have to keep just every day opposite of what Trump was. Trump could discover diamonds and save 20. Not one of them would say a good thing. So we're at a point now that I blame one side and it's theirs. And again, you could take their shitheads on Republicans, but the leftist, communist influence in our government is what effing us right now. They're not even trying to come up with policy. It's a globalist, multicultural, import the enemy. They're doing nothing for the American people. They even admitted that they're not doing anything for the American people. They're pieces of shit who will say that they'll raise taxes and still get voted in. Pelosi could walk out and say, I'm going to raise your taxes, kill cats, and drown babies, and she's winning that next election.
Well, that happens.
So they're not even accountable anymore.
That happens with Mitch McConnell. That happens with Mitch McConnell too. I mean, he's literally not even able to.
I hate that fucker. So there you go, and I hate him for it. But the problem is lefty. Yeah.
I mean, that's a problem in and of it. That is the problem identified. It's just that is the problem. It would be nice to see when I interview people, potential candidates. They're all they're like. I got a guy, Saul Spady. He's got all kinds of great ideas. His parents fought for charter schools, for the first charter schools in either Oregon or Washington State. And I mean, he's an incredible. He's a liberal, but he's got an incredible approach. But when you talk about the ones that are already there, yeah, most of them need to go. Either side.
I mean, where's the Bill Maher's? Where's the Fetterman?
Well, actually, Bill Maher will never run for office because he knows he's got.
Oh, no. I don't mean as him being a politician. The classic liberal. the classic liberal, the Bill Maher or the Fetterman. Why? That's all there was. Even as recently as my parents liked them, not even a generation ago, 20 years ago.
And I think we're going to get back to that because kids are smarter.
Yeah, right. No, because you've lost all men. You're not going to get a masculine man. They're all afraid to have a D near their name now. Unless you're a homo, a trans, or some beta guy, you are not going to be embarrassed with a D by your name. You are not going to be embarrassed with that. If somebody calls me a Democrat, it's like telling me my mom's got situations. You're now a guy's masculinity's gone. It's such a feminine woman, communist at the federal level. I keep saying at the federal level, local, whatever. It's just so pathetic.
Yeah, at the federal level, it's gotten. But frankly,
it's just beta men and angry women. That's all it is. At the federal level, we can't have that. And then they're getting on and drumming up our already mentally ill young women right now in this country.
Well, that's got to change. But
they're drumming them up. Yeah,
that's got to change. But
we never even addressed that voting. That's a whole nother podcast, which I have no problem talking about.
No, we will, because I want to get into that.
And the girls, yeah.
We will actually.
That is your number one danger to our country, demographic-wise.
Save that thought, because I've got some thoughts on that. But that is a whole nother podcast, and it's based on education too. But I've got some big thoughts on that. But I want to save that thought, and I think this is a good point to wrap it up, because we really got some good stuff out there. This is great.
I love it.
I love it.
Yeah, some good talk, good flowing. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. We're going to do it again. Let's do it again. I'll text you in a day or two. I want to do it again. I'll tell you when this one's
hit me up.
Thanks, yep. Jonathan Lapidow, retired lieutenant colonel. Thank you for your service. I am so thankful that they provided you an opportunity to live a great life outside of work, so that the military provided you with that retirement. Like you said, it's not enough, but it's a good start. I think we should do more for our retired military, but that's a whole nother discussion. But thank you, Jonathan. He's there. That's why he needed your attention. Thanks, John.
Yeah, look, you see that they're grabbing me for their fun meter is pegged. You see, he's grabbing me. That's Louie right there.
Hi, Louie.
He's like, it's time, John.
You're adorable. It's time, Dad. Thanks,
Lola,
Jonathan.
say hi real quick.
Oh,
yeah, you see, there's Lola.
She's beautiful.
All right, guys. All right, Jeff. All right, Coach. I'll talk to you, buddy.
Talk to you soon. I'll be texting you and calling you. Thanks, Jonathan.